You know, when most people hear about NLP, they think it's about better communication, maybe confidence, or this idea of rewiring your mindset. But that's really just the surface layer. It's the part that's safe, the part that's presentable. Because there is a darker side, a side that's built on covert influence, on psychological leverage, and on achieving subconscious compliance. This is a side that most people never see because, well, the people who use it effectively don't want you to. And to really understand this, you have to go back to its origins. NLP was never just a study of self-help. From the very beginning, it was also a study of power. You see, neurolinguistic programming began by modeling excellence, but that word excellence wasn't limited to just great therapists. It also included master persuaders, truly charismatic leaders, people who had this uncanny ability to shift the behavior of others almost instantly, bypassing any kind of logical resistance. So right from its DNA, NLP wasn't just studying how to heal, it was studying how to influence. It studied power. And power, as we know, always has a shadow. And from that study came these, architectures of covert influence. Let's look at one of the most fundamental patterns. It's called state hijacking. The idea is that someone can induce a very specific emotional state in you, let's say excitement or confusion, and then use a subtle trigger, maybe a word or a simple gesture, to anchor that feeling to themselves. Later on, they can fire that anchor, and that emotion comes rushing back, influencing your decisions. It works because it's talking directly to your nervous system, which always responds faster than your logical mind. And you can see how this plays out. Someone might create a state of intense excitement and, link that amazing feeling to their presence. Or, on the other hand, they might induce confusion, making you feel a bit lost, only to then present themselves as the one true source of clarity. They create the tension so they can position themselves as the release from it. And you have to understand, this isn't persuasion as we normally think of it. This is conditioning. It's operating on a level well beneath conscious thought. Another one of these patterns is called frame invasion. Now, think of your frame as your psychological reality. It's your perspective on the world. In any interaction, the person whose frame is stronger tends to control the outcome. Frame invasion, then, is this art of entering your worldview, making you feel completely and totally understood, and then, from the inside, subtly shifting it, almost like turning a massive ship just 1 degree at a time. And that's the tricky part. It feels like a deep connection. It feels like you're finally being seen for who you are. But what's actually happening is a form of infiltration. And this is how someone can begin to change your core beliefs without ever having to have an argument or a debate with you. But the most potent, the most powerful forms of influence, they don't target your opinions at all. They go deeper. They target your identity. There's a technique called an identity bridge, and it's one of the most dangerous patterns. Let's just walk through how it works. First, someone identifies a core part of how you see yourself, your identity. Maybe you see yourself as a strong person, or a loyal friend, or an innovator. Then they link their message directly to that identity. They'll say something like, because you're such an innovator, you're one of the few people who will get this. And that's the third step, the trap. Because once they've made that link, disagreeing with their message now feels like you are betraying a core part of who you are. And the trap is set. Resisting their influence now feels like you're resisting yourself. And so, compliance. Well, compliance feels like an act of personal integrity. So if these patterns are designed to operate beneath the level of conscious thought, what's the antidote? What can you do? Well, the first step is to understand the difference in intent. Ethical influence expands your awareness. It honors your autonomy. Covert manipulation does the opposite. It narrows your awareness and bypasses your consent. One is aiming for mutual growth, and the other is simply aiming for control. The techniques might look similar on the surface, but the intent behind them is what defines everything. So the real question is, how do you reclaim your own internal authority in a world where these patterns exist? The antidote isn't fear. In fact, fear is the worst response, because fear narrows your focus, and that just makes you more susceptible to influence. No, the real antidote is awareness. A calm, grounded awareness of your own emotional state and of the subtle shifts in the dynamics that are happening around you. Because here's the secret. These patterns rely on being invisible. The moment you can see them, the moment you can name them as they're happening, they lose their power over you. You simply stop being influenced by them. And in that moment, when you reclaim your internal authority, no one can use your own subconscious against you.